Ah, what a lovely day. Woohoo. Love always works. I just love this one. There's a practice that we do in the foundations class. It's from Emma Curtis Hopkins. She used to ask everyone to just hold themselves. Try it out. And then just say this. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful me. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful me. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful me. I love that exercise. Nobody can do that without smiling because you are wonderful, right? And that's the beauty of it. Double Lindas in the house. Got a Linda Rojo and a Linda Fisher. Oh, nice. Maybe you guys have heard, you're a reverend, maybe you've heard this. I had someone I was talking to this week, and they said, I was reading your book, the Science of Mind. You guys are so heady. There's just, you talk about the law all the time, and it's kind of cold and unfeeling and intellectual. And I was like, what are you talking about? He says, well, you got the ultimate substance. You're talking about cosmic intelligence. You're always talking about quantum physics and the unknown, unformed substance coming from the quantum realm of the non-domain and the non-dual. And blah, blah. I was like, take a breath, dude. And then he did, and then he went on. He says, you talk about form and vibration and all this kind of stuff. Where is the feeling? And look at what you got. Like at our church, we have Sunday school. You got classes. And we have prayer, and you have treatment. And we have the Bible, and you have a textbook. Well, so I went to talk to my good friend Ernie, Mahomes boy. When I was in school, they would tell us, you must honor the founder. When you mention him the first time in your talk, you must say, our founder, Dr. Ernest Holmes. So for all of my teachers, when I was talking to Ernie this week, he was telling me, I picked up the textbook that Maggie talks about. I got like 5 of them as well, because he underlines so much. It looks like a kid just colored all through it, so you need to get a new one to start over again. And he says, there's nothing cold or unfeeling about the philosophy of religious science or the practice of the science of mind at all. In fact, he says this, to be effective, it, meaning the science of mind, must pulsate with deep feeling. It must pulsate with deep feeling. And there's nothing deeper than the feeling of love. You see, we're not peculiar. Dr. Holmes says we are not peculiar. We are enlightened. We're enlightened. There's a reason that we have classes, because we have to unlearn so much stuff so we can learn the teachings that have been around since Jesus walked the planet and before. You see, our textbook dives into all the various ancient texts. Dr. Holmes read the Upanishads, he read the Vedas, he read the Quran, he read the Tao, and his number one favorite was the Bible. If you look at our textbook, half of the book is dedicated to the teachings of Jesus. And in those teachings from John, 1 John 4:8, it says, who knows not love knows not God, for God is love. Well, just let that land on your heart for a minute. If you know love, if you've ever felt love, I'm seeing love right now in the front row. Look at those lovebirds. How long y'all been married? 4 years? You've only been married 4 years? But you've been, how long has the junkyard been around?
10.
You mean y'all were living in sin for all those years before that?
We are sinners.
We are sinners, isn't it? We are all sinners because we all make mistakes. We all make mistakes, see? They get all crazy about this sin business. Huh? No, that wasn't a mistake. But she brought that word out. I brought that word out, that idea about sinners, It's nothing but archery. You missed the mark, you made a mistake. That's one sin. That's how they mark it down. We all make mistakes, and we all get to relearn and move forward from that. But what? You were going to say something else? You do it again? I bet, because he is such a sweetheart. We love us. We love us from Tony Filato. Definitely. They know love. They know God. We know love. If you've loved anyone, you are expressing God. God is that creative intelligence that loves us so much. It surrounds us. It's the air. It's embracing us all the time. We are actually within it, and it is within us. And it so loves us that every thought we have impresses this creative intelligence in such a way. It impresses it. It takes that thought and presses it into that unformed substance, and it becomes the reality of your life. That's love, that can love you so much that it can give you even your mistakes and still love you anyway. It can give you even your wrong thoughts and put those into your experience and love you through the trials and the tribulations and the struggles until we get it right. And then we we re-aim, we fire another thought into that impression, and it makes that new thing, and then we're living in joy and celebration. Wow, that is cool. That is some good stuff. Dr. Holmes says, love is the lodestone of life, companionship, a feeling of belonging, wanting, and needing each other. See, there's nothing wrong about love. The only thing that's wrong is to not seek it in the first place. That's the deal. That's what we're looking for. We're looking to find this divine presence that's within us, that we're a part of, that's a part of us. And it's in our hearts, and it enables us to know how to think. It enables us to know what to do. It enables us to know what to will into our experience. It's to recognize each other as God and to recognize the God in the other as that living presence that lives and breathes and moves and has its being by means of us. This love that pervades everything. And as we roll into the month of May and roll down toward Mother's Day, I just wanted to talk a little bit about this idea of love. We could talk about it forever because it's such a hard thing to define. As we talked about recently when I talked about, you can love a cold drink on a hot day, and you can love your child, you can love your car, you can love that you didn't get a ticket when you were driving past this morning, all these kinds of things. Florence Scovel Shinn says, love is God in manifestation. Bless you, because I can. Love is God. It's not my line. I got that from Mark Lavera. Love is God in manifestation and the strongest magnetic force in the universe. The strongest magnetic force in the universe. An attracting force, magnetic attracting force. That's what a lodestone is. A lodestone is a piece of rock that's magnetized, that attracts, okay? So love as that lodestone that Dr. Holmes likes to say. Cora Fillmore, this was Charles Fillmore's second wife when Myrtle passed on. He remarried this woman, and she wrote, love is the attractive force that draws our good to us according to the depth and strength of our realization of love. The more we love, the stronger the force, the stronger the attractive pull of this power. You see, so in Science of Mind, we talk about love, we talk about law, but they are all contained within what is God itself. So actually, love is equal to law. Law and love are the same. Love actually works as a law. That's why I'm talking about it as love is always working, you see. And as this working love, working as a law, as we feel it, as we express it, there's nothing that we have to do other than that. It's going to do it all on its own. I'm just seeing so much love in the room. Scott just walked over and put his arm on his shoulder. There's the anniversary birds back there. Andreas and Tracy, they just, well, how many? 10 years. That was beautiful. This attractive force, this energy, this magnetic energy. And how do we use it? We use it by just recognizing that it works. Dr. Holmes was, he had a bunch of buddies he used to hang out with, and they would sometimes stay at his house over on Lorraine. And near the end of his life, he had a companion named George Bindle that drove him everywhere because Dr. Holmes didn't like to drive. He understood cars, but he didn't, he knew how to drive cars. He didn't like to do it that much, so he loved having George Bindle taking places. And they were having breakfast one morning before going over to speak at the Wiltern. And Dr. Holmes says to George, you see this salt shaker right here? If I lift this up and I put it over there, what makes it stay there? Well, gravitational force, that's right. Do I have to convince gravity to make the salt shaker stay there? Why, no, you don't. No, you don't, Dr. Holmes. And if I pick it up and I bring it back over here, then I'll have to convince gravity again to make it stay here after I put it here, or will gravity take it and put it back over there? He says, no, Dr. Holmes, it's going to stay right there. That's all I want to get across to the people today at the Wiltern, that the force works, but it's one person makes it work. One with God is a majority. I love that idea. When you take I'm a gardener, and speaking of gardening, who brought this beautiful orchid today? Thank you, Colin. It's absolutely gorgeous. Yeah. In honor of Jennifer. Who's Jennifer? Oh, that Jennifer right there? Reverend Jennifer? Our new Reverend to be? It's your last day on the service team? Oh. Well, but that's because she's moving into, boy, this is a long tangent here. It's because she's moving into a new way of serving here at the center in pastoral care, because as she's moved into her reverency and finished her work toward her ordination, she will be working with our pastoral care group, because she's a chaplain, and she'll be working in hospice care and senior care. So she's actually not leaving a service team, she's graduating to another service team. So that means that there's an opening on Colin's team. Just see Colin after service and you can join his service team. And that would be the first Sunday of the month, right? Okay. Somebody help me. Where was I? So, back to the planting. One is a majority in God. When I take, we'll be fine. Don't worry about it. It'll be okay. So I take a seed. I put it in the ground. The law of growth will take over after that. I just have to put the seed in the ground. You have a thought. You put the thought into the spiritual realm. That's all you got to do. Just like the salt shaker doesn't have to be convinced to stay on the table because of the gravitational force, your idea does not have to be convinced by you to become manifest. The law and the love of the universe will take care of that part. And the challenge is we don't trust that enough. You see, but you wouldn't do this. You wouldn't go to your seed and dig it up to see if it started to sprout yet. You wouldn't do it. And if you did do it, what's wrong with you? But you will do that to your thoughts that you put into the spiritual soil. I do it all the time. Maybe I'm the only one in the room that does it. But, I'll say, this is what I'm trading for. And then I look at my bank account and I go, oh, I don't have enough money. What? Then the universe goes, I don't know what to do with that. You just affirmed prosperity and you just said you don't have enough. You see? That's going to the soil and digging up to see if the seed sprouted. That's putting the salt shaker on the table and then putting a rock on top of it so that it won't float off the table. No. That's not the way this stuff works. It's like that Facebook commercial. Remember the lady had all her friends pasted up on her wall, bringing her friends, and her other friend says, that's not how it works. Same way with the law. I'm gonna unfriend you, right? So, back to our title now, this week. Love always works. Now, I have a personal thing about always, never, and the. This is the only way. It always works. I never do. These kind of like, But in this case, I'm thinking this might be one of those always that actually works. Always, every time, every occasion, without exception, always, continuously, uninterruptedly happening, always, in any event, at any time, always, forever, eternal, always, can always turn to it. Right? And if you don't believe me, believe the most interesting man in the world who says, I'm not always right, but when I'm not, I'm still not wrong. You know who the world's most interesting man is, right? The Dos Equis guy, right? Yeah. Or my favorite philosopher, one of my favorite philosophers, Louis M. Rambo, who says, I may be right, I may be wrong, but I'm always sure. Right? Love isn't always. Love can always be applied, and it will not let us down. We don't have to put a rock on top of it. We don't have to dig up and look to see if it's working. Always is always working. Dr. Holmes in the Living the Science of Mind textbook, lovely book. It's really nice for people like me with short attention spans because it's filled with articles that are only 5 or 6 pages long. So you can feel like you've gotten somewhere, you've read something, and you've come to the end of it, and you're like, ooh, I made an accomplishment, right? It's not like one of those War and Peace, you know? But it's great, and each article is fantastic. And in this one particular article about love, he says, love looses the greatest energy in the universe, the great spiritual energy. And without love, there's a certain part of life that does not come to fulfillment. Well, we don't truly love. Think about going to work and not loving your job. At the end of the day, how do you feel? Right? Totally exhausted. If you, poor Dominic, but you're so fortunate because you get to work with the law of growth all the time because you're a gardener.
Oh yeah, then I could go on vacation too.
Exactly. And so here you are in that experience of working and not having it be completely fulfilling because you're not loving it. Even if it's something that you don't particularly enjoy in that moment, if you can love yourself through it and find those parts and apply yourself with all of the self-love and all the self-worth and self-value you feel about yourself and apply that to your job, not only will you finish that job and feel somewhat encouraged, feel a little bit more uplifted, you might be walking out of that job one day when somebody says, you know, I saw you at your job today, and I could use someone with your talents and your skills. And boom, you're off to the next job that's the perfect job that allows you to be even more fulfilled. You know, this is how this works. When we can use love, we release an energy that's beyond us. It's that same energy that holds the planets in place. That's a mighty energy. It's that same energy that holds the whole cosmos into motion. You know, that's what we're talking about. We're talking about infinity here being applied to our individual lives. It's a beautiful experience. It's what we get to do when we recognize that love always works, when we trust in the law and we trust in the love. See, it's our job as religious scientists. It's the reason it's called science, and it's the reason that we're called practitioners, not just those who get the license, but anyone who comes to this faith and then puts it into practice in their life. You are practicing. You are a practitioner when you're taking these principles home with you each day and putting them into your life. It's our job to prove that it works, to prove that love always works. Emma Curtis Hopkins has a lovely line. There's good enough for me, and I ought to have it. There's good enough for me, and I ought to have it. Trust in that idea. Let go of the question, am I good enough? Not the right question at all. Maybe some questions might be, is my thinking constructive enough? Am I loving enough? Am I kind enough? Am I giving enough? Am I happy enough? Remember, wonderful, wonderful, wonderful me? You are wonderful. We are all good enough. The deal is sometimes we need to get still and know that we are the one we're waiting for. I've been playing with my meditation this week. Well, actually, for the last 2 weeks. Be still and know that I am God. I say it to myself, be still and know that I am God. Then I say, be still and know that I am. Be still and know. Be still. Be. Then I go into the silence. Then after my period of silence, I come out. Be still. Be still and know. Be still and know that I am. Be still and know that I am God. We are all each an expression of the only thing that is. Thank God we're not fully God itself, but we are of God. We are that experience that is God, made manifest right here and right now. And it's our job to prove that love always works. Dr. Holmes did this exercise that was so beautiful. This is so great. He would wake up in the morning, and in his morning meditation, he would imagine himself literally embracing all the people that he knew that he loved. And then he would imagine himself embracing all the people that came into his life that he didn't actually know, but he loved anyway, like the cashier at the bank or the service attendant at the gas station. He would just embrace them in love. And then in his consciousness, he would imagine himself loving the city and holding the whole city and the whole country and the entire world in his arms of love. Then he'd go out and make the day. He would prove to himself every day by his interchanges with the people that he met and the smiles he would find on the street. From that simple practice, he would discover that love always works. And so it is. So, our affirmation this morning, here we are. Love, this lodestone of life, draws attention to my good and attracts that good into my experience. Yeah. So, as we get ready for that, we get ready for the healing prayer. Thinking about our good buddy Joe. Yeah. Okay, so earlier we talked about Angela Carroll Brown, the music director. She would be the music director of the choir. I want to make that clear. Sherry is still with us. She just has a day off, and David fills in. Spoke with Sherry this morning, and she's having a lovely day to herself. It's really beautiful. We're happy to have that. So this is our time for our healing prayer, and in this moment, let's apply this love always works principle. Who is it? First off, ourselves. Is there something within ourselves that we're not fully loving, that we know that there's some thought in there that is in the sin space that has been aimed incorrectly, that we want to re-aim into that presence of love in our life? Is there someone else in our life that we love that we want to know the truth for that particular person? Is there a condition in the world that we want to inform more fully? We're going to let that vibrational force, that cosmic stuff, that unformed substance, all that heady stuff get applied to that heartfelt stuff of pulsation and feeling as we do a prayer together. So I open up the room to share those words of encouragement, support, and the names of the people that we're going to call into prayer this morning. Now, please. Shane, Patricia, Maggie. Rising up from the silence is that pulsating feeling. I can feel it in every cell of my body right now, moving through the entire room is this impulse of love. And it is magnetized. It is an attractive force. It is a moving energy that operates continuously, uninterruptedly. Can be counted on always. So we count on it now. We apply it now. We allow the vibrations of our thought, the movement of our word, to be a movement in the mind that is God. And with the faith of moving a salt shaker on the table, with the faith of planting a seed in the ground, we plant these seeds into that universal substance of divine feeling and form, unformed, and allow it to become the form in the lives of those that we have spoken forth into the room today. We know it shows up as divine and right healing, as guidance and direction, as movement into the right form of living space, the perfect job unfolding, the healing of relationships, all those areas in the human realm that is also the spiritual realm. They need that extra boost of love to move them into that space of perfection We move that now into those experiences through this prayer, through this word spoken, through this common thought held by this community. And just for the moment, we hold it only to coalesce it, because we know that as we plant the seed in the ground, we must release it into the law for the law to do its work. So with gratitude, we release our desires, we release our concerns, we release our intentions, we release our affirmations, we release our wants and desires into the law right now, freely, letting it go. And so it is. Mhm.